Hi, I'm Officer Kyle Corner, and today we're going to see how hot it gets in these vehicles. Now I'm going to try to do this in one take because it is getting hot in here. I am sitting in a four-door pickup truck, no AC on, the engine's off, and you might have remembered me doing this last summer in a vehicle as well. Now last summer it was 85 degrees out and the inside temperature of that truck got to 136 degrees inside while I was sitting inside of it. Today is roughly 97 degrees here in the colony, and we're filming this on July 7th. And we're going to see how hot it gets in here. Now I'm going to keep the temperature on here, and you're going to see the gauge in the corner of the screen, and it's showing 118 degrees out right now. I just turned the vehicle off to simulate what it looks like to get out of your vehicle and how hot it gets in these vehicles if you leave your kid or your animal inside. We've had a lot of those happen in here lately in the Metroplex here. Way too many. I'm going to see how hot it gets in here for a little while. And right now it just shot up to 129 degrees. And that's just right after I turned the vehicle off. 129 degrees it got in here. Now it's at 134 degrees. Of course, I'm sitting here in a uniform, but you know, your children could be strapped in their car seat. Animals, they can't take the fur off when you leave them in here. Even a cracking a window will not help. It gets very hot. 140 degrees already. I was going to have multiple camera angles in here, but it got so hot when I was setting this up outside that two of my cameras got overheated and they won't even work. So now it's at 145 degrees. And we're going to sit here and let it climb and climb. Now, before I did come in here, I did drink a lot of water to try to get hydrated, getting prepared for this. But, you know, your kids in the back seat, I got car seats back here. Kids in the back seat don't have the option of getting something to drink or getting out. And that's something you have to remember. Now it's at 148 degrees. And we're going to sit here and see how long it goes. 150 degrees. It's pretty unbearable of what these children go through when you leave them in the cars. If you have to do anything, do not leave your kids in the car or your animals in the car. If you have to tie a shoestring to your kid and you before you get out, if you have to put a baby monitor in your car with a camera or some kind of alarm system, something out there to remind you that these kids are in your car. 156 degrees. This is getting unbearable. And like I said, right before I started filming, I just shut the truck off, and I really didn't even had the AC blowing, and I just turned it off right before I started filming and trying to set up in here. So 156 to 158 degrees. It keeps on climbing up and forth, back and forth a little bit. Now 157. So I think that's probably where it's going to hover around in here. And I'm pretty sure any animal or kid really couldn't last in here that long. Like me, I'm not doing very well at all. So it's hovering about 158 degrees, just sitting here in a vehicle on a 97 degree day. Right now it's 97 degrees outside. Alright, so it popped up to 160. So it looks like it's still kind of climbing. This isn't going to be one of those things where I'm going to see how long I can last in here. See, I can't even talk straight right now. Because that's how it affects you. I'm not going to sit here. It's not going to be one of those videos where how long I can last in here. Just seeing how hot it can get. I don't recommend anybody trying to do this else at home just to see. Just please remember, don't leave your kids or your animals in there. We've only been shooting this probably just a few minutes. So even if it's one of those things where you're just running into the store, running to get a drink, get whatever out of the store or whatever, it gets hot that quick, that fast. 161 degrees, so it is still kind of climbing. I've got beads of sweat all over me. So, one, you know, these kids and these animals are defenseless in their vehicles when you leave them in there. Two, whatever happens to you afterwards, whether it's criminally negligent homicide or child endangerment or animal cruelty, you know, that's the least of your worries when a child dies in your car because of the heat, because you leave them in there. whether it's accidentally or, like I said, you're running into the store. So it's up to 163 degrees. So it looks like it's climbing a little bit by a little bit, but you can see how fast it got from around 100 degrees to this. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off now before these cameras stop working, because it's getting hot in here. 163 degrees. So if you take anything from this, please remember your kids and your animals in your vehicle. Do whatever you got to do to remember them. Don't forget, even if it's one of those moments where you don't really take the kids somewhere, you don't take them to school, or you don't take them to the daycare, and it's not your normal routine, and you go to work, do whatever you got to do to remember your kids and your animals in your car. So it's leaving at 163 degrees inside here, at 97 degrees outside. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Be careful out there. Remember your cargo. Remember your kids. Remember your animals. And we'll see you next time. Remember, if you see something, say something.